You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society.
And now, in Disney.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome in on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in New England. Welcome in to JW World News Sunday edition. Wow, stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot of stories to talk about today. Well, happy Sunday to everybody. Wow, what a good thing we got going here, friends. I'm telling you. It's really, I'm getting really super excited. I tell you that all the time, I know, but I'm seeing, you're seeing, we're all seeing the Watchtower collapsing. It's wonderful to see that. And the apostates, man, they are all over the place. All the activists, all the people speaking up, finally getting through. You know, for many years, nobody was listening to the apostates. Nobody, even apostates, weren't listening to each other. But now, what a formidable force. It is really doing a job on the Watchtower. We're all like a bunch of cockroaches. You know, they squish one of us out, but then there's 5 more that come out of the woodwork. And boy, are the witnesses losing people. They are hemorrhaging. And it's so obvious with the many things that I've been reading here as I do the news every week right here on the Six Screens Telenetwork. But the thing is, I mean, it's like the CIA. I tell you that all the time. We're extracting intelligentsia. We're extracting things that are so meaningful, showing us the Watchtower really is in free fall. So stay with us today. We got some things. If you guys don't want to have your voice heard, we can put you on the voice changer. And we can make you sound like a baby. If you're a man, we can make you sound like a woman. So if you guys are having some problems coming on, we'll put you on the voice changer. Ask for that. Well, let's get right into this. This week was a good week, at least for the apostates. It's always good to see a Watchtower attorney. Always wonderful to see a Watchtower attorney landing up in hot water. I don't have much. I don't really have much feeling for Watchtower attorneys. I don't think you do either. Well, I'm going to put this guy right up here right now. You can see him on Facebook and YouTube. Well, this guy right here, that's Philip Brumley. Philip Brumley got himself in big time trouble this week. He's a Watchtower attorney. He's their most famous one. Most everybody knows William Brumley. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, he takes on all these high profile court cases. And he was working on a court case in Montana. And there was 2 girls out there. We had one of the girls. She'd been on our program here about 2 years ago. I don't want to bring anything up about who she is or anything, because we have to keep it quiet because the court case is still going on. But she has been on the program. But anyways, this week, Brumley was sanctioned. Now, when a lawyer is sanctioned, let me tell you something, that's serious. That could lead to a lot of bad consequences. That could get a lawyer barred from even being an attorney. It really, really could. So it's a serious thing. But you say, well, what did he do? Well, I'll tell you what he did. But Brumley, of course, worked with the Watchtower, and he knows a lot about the Watchtower. And what it was in the case, it was brought up on these 2 girls that molested back in I believe it was the early 80s. So anyways, what was asked Brumley was concerning the Watchtower of Pennsylvania. Now, we always knew as Jehovah's Witnesses, there was Watchtower New York, Brooklyn, and there was Watchtower Pennsylvania. Generally, Pennsylvania was the legal department. So the court in Montana was questioning Brumley about Watchtower, Pennsylvania's connection to legal issues concerning molestation and child abuse in the Watchtower. So he said that, presently he was saying that they're not involved. They're kind of non-existent, so to speak, is what he was basically saying. But the court, he also was saying that back then they weren't involved either. Presently, they have a little more dealings, I suppose he was saying. But back then, when this took place, that they weren't involved. So consequently, it was creating some issues. It was creating a lot of issues. And what happened is they sanctioned him because they found he was lying. If he brought this out in the beginning when they asked him questions about the court, and he brought this up concerning Watchtower and how the Watchtower, Pennsylvania, wasn't too much to consider because it really didn't have any legs or any power, but he was lying to the court. Let's just go with that. So he was sanctioned. It's going to cost him a lot of money. It's going to cost him a lot of money. He has to pay 17 months of legal fees for the plaintiff's lawyers, plus damages fees to the court. I'm just thinking, friends, I mean, don't take it to the bank and cash it, but I'm thinking we could be talking here at least $1 million up, probably 2 million. So Brumley is the big fat prize pig. I hate to say that, but that's what they do. They put a little lipstick on him and they send him out there, and he really botched this one up. And what the Watchtower does is they drag cases on. The wheels of justice move very slowly when the Watchtower is involved in a court hearing, and they do it on purpose. You can really slow down the wheels of injustice and the wheels of justice as well by going slow. Nothing gets done, but I'm glad. And I'm going to tell you something. This is going to be a real black mark on Brumley as a lawyer. You don't want too many sanctions on you. You could be thrown out of the bar, so to speak, out of their lawyer arrangement. Now, other lawyers around the world, they're going to be reading about this. He just lost. I'll tell you what, that's one of the worst things that could happen to a lawyer is be sanctioned. So I am so glad that I'm seeing this all happening. So a lot of things are happening. It's just not that, but that was one of the big stories during the week. But here's another big happening this week. The Watchtower, the governing body, the powers to be, well, what they're doing is they're really having a hard time getting people back to the meetings. They want people coming back to the meetings to be able to meet in person, and the people aren't doing it. They're staying on Zoom, and this is irritating the governing body. It's irritating. It's irritating the officials, the elders. They want to get people back in. Let's stop sharing. I'm going to get Brumley off here for us. Yeah. All right. So anyways, the governing body is getting to feel they're getting desperate. Let's go with that. They're trying to get all these people back to the meeting, and the people do not want to come back. They're using manipulation. They're using guilt trips. They're desperate in their attempts to try to get people to the meeting. In one congregation in the last couple of weeks, they had 4 talks on, let's come back now to the meetings in person. But, 2 years ago, Zoom was a blessing from Jehovah. Yeah, just 2 years ago was the ultimate blessing from Jehovah. And now Zoom. It could be a weapon used by Satan to lull Jehovah's people into laziness and complacency. So Zoom is going to be old light. I suppose that's what we can call it. They created a real monster with Zoom. They had to do it to survive in the short term, but in the long run, Zoom could be the death nail of the Watchtower. Oh, my goodness gracious. And, the reason why people don't want to go back and to do work, as well as even talking about here going back to meetings, when you get used to coming online and just having to put a camera in front of your face in a phone or a microphone, it's a lot easier than dressing the kids up, polishing your shoes, doing your hair up, looking halfway decent, and running. It's too much for the people. So they love the Zoom. They don't want to. They don't want to leave Zoom. They want to stay on Zoom But there are some people going to the meetings. From what I hear, about 1/3 to 1/2 of the people are returning to the kingdom halls. Not good enough for the governing body, but they're passively, aggressively guilt tripping. Yeah, what does that mean? It means they're doing it in kind of like guilty ways, babyish kids in the schoolyard type ways to get other kids to do things. And they're going to be calling some of these people who don't come back to the meetings in person. They're going to be calling them weak. They're going to have all kinds of names for them. They might even be soft shunned. So we know this is really going to be a problem for many witnesses. And there's going to be many witnesses that are not going back. I mean, I can't believe the amount of people who write me every week and tell me that's it. They don't want to go back to the kingdom halls. So one thing the elders and the circuit overseer and others that are close to the congregation, what they're going to be looking for. So if you're not going to the meetings in person and you're going to social events, gatherings, witness gatherings, get-togethers, whatever you want to call them, if they catch you going there and you're not going to the meetings, oh, no, that's not a good thing. That is not good. They want you associating with the witnesses at the Kingdom Hall every week. Shunning and shaming are their go-to control tactics. They're going to shame you. They're going to shun you if you don't do it. And a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you right now, they'll probably take away the password to Zoom. And they'll only let the infirm witnesses. Well, what is that? What's an infirm witness? Well, just what it says. Is a person that might be bedridden. Maybe they can't get up and walk. Maybe they're chronically sick. So they have an infirm pass. Maybe they'll be the only ones that get the Zoom password. So rumor has it that even in 2023, the contract with the Watchtower and Zoom, and they do have a contract, they pay dearly for it. Rumor has it that contract is up sometime in 2023, and it's already being circulated that the Watchtower is not going to renew it. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know for sure. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, that they're having trouble getting people back to the meeting. But even as we're going into September 1st, guess what? The witnesses are going back door to door. Well, you guys probably already know that, right? We talked about it last night. But there are so many witnesses, once again, they don't want to go back in the field service. They don't. It's a crummy way to have to spend your weekends knocking on doors all over the place with people that don't even want to hear what you have to say anymore. I'm going to play you a clip. I'm going to play you a clip here that I think you'll find very fascinating concerning the door-to-door work. So let's play that right now. In fact, let me just see if I got the right clip here. Just give me a second. Yeah, I got a governing body clip I want to play to you. We're going to let this clip go because I got another clip I want to play instead. But let's just talk about this door-to-door. People aren't going to want to participate in that. They're already saying how they're going to fake it. And many witnesses have fake going door to door, right? Okay, they go out, they knock on a door or two, then go on a return visit. So many are already having their plans on how they're going to fake field ministry. And not only that, people are not going to be as pleasant to the witnesses as they were. Now, I'm going to say witnesses at one time, people were more pleasant to them. I can remember when I was out in service, some people were pleasant, some weren't that pleasant, but the mood has changed in this country. The world is already so aggravated. They're politically divided. They're all stirred up with anger. They're hearing things on the news. They're paying higher prices for their food, for their gas, for their heating. So the world is already ticked off. And now we got the Jehovah's Witnesses going to be knocking uninvitedly, not even being invited, knocking on their door, trying to cram the Jehovah's Witness theology down their throat. So this is going to create a lot of issues. People don't have as much patience as they had a few years ago. COVID really did a job on so many people. It's not the same world anymore. People are not happy with the economy, and many people have mental health issues. Yes, the COVID, cabin fever, can't do too much. It caused a lot of mental health issues. And, a lot of these people, they're not going to be opening the door to the Jehovah's Witnesses. And the world has got used to not seeing the Jehovah's Witness regularly in their neighborhood. They haven't they haven't been seeing the witnesses, so it's going to be a shock to them when the witnesses start going out again and doing their business. So, anyways, I know it's going to be very unsuccessful. At least that's how I feel. And also, the other thing is, it's very unsettling to the witnesses on how they're going to go about this, whether they're going to wear a mask or whether they're not going to wear a mask. Some are going to wear a mask. And imagine going door to door with a mask on. Come on. I mean, well, would you open the door to a person knocking on your door? Couple of men out there with a mask on. Geez, you don't know if they're to rob you, rape you, or take you for a kidnapping ride. You wouldn't know that. And now with these new Ring doorbells, high technology doorbells, this is going to create some major issues. People are going to know who you are. They're going to see you on the video camera. They're not going to come to the door. Come on. I was kicked out of Satan's organization back in 2005. That's the last time I was out in service. And nobody was answering the door. Very few would even answer. And when they did, nobody was really wanting to willingly take the literature or anything. They just say, oh, hi, bye. I mean, it was that simple. So it's going to be something else. And I know that it's not going to be like it was before COVID. The door-to-door ministry is going to fail badly. But, just stop there for a second. Now, in 2005, like I say, that was my last time in field service. It was already failing. The door-to-door ministry was already failing. And how can I say that? Well, I can say it just like I told you. Nobody, I can remember working in car groups. We'd go out, 5 or 6 of us in a car group. All right, you take this house, you take that house, I'll take this house. We all come back together and would say, anybody place any literature? No, I didn't get anybody to answer the door. And that's all people were saying. There was no productivity. Nothing was happening. People wouldn't even answer the door, like I say. So it's been failing. The door-to-door work has been failing for many years. And even if you are a pioneer, former pioneer, listening into this program, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You know it's not like it was years ago. People don't want to talk to strangers, uninvited guests at the house. One time people coming to their house. You guys remember the Avon lady, the milkman? Now, maybe I'm dating myself here. The milkman, the bread man, the full of brush man. All these people used to come to your house, right? And they'd want to talk to you and sell you some stuff. Oh, no, not anymore. Even door-to-door insurance salesmen. Pots and pans people used to sell door-to-door. And, of course, the Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, they're going to be all by themselves. Now, nobody's going out door-to-door anymore. That's old-fashioned. I mean, why doesn't Fuller Brush or Avon? They don't do it because they know darn well people aren't going to answer it. So in the meantime, the watchtowers, they just want to keep you busy. They just want to keep your mind occupied. They don't want you having free time. Well, what does a witness do when they have free time? Well, they're going to get on the internet. They're going to start talking, keep you so busy that you can't even think straight. And not only that, you remember what it was like when it's freezing cold, going out in service. Well, I live up here in New England, Massachusetts, and it gets cold in the winter. Not too bad in the last few winters, but I can remember, and I don't want to sound like an old man here, but there were many days in the winter where it got down 10 below zero. It doesn't seem to do that now. Maybe there is some of that global warming going on. But it used to be, I can remember going out in service at 10 below zero. Not too fun. And you'd be, you have layers of clothes on, you're still freezing cold, you're getting hot chocolate, you're getting coffee, you're trying to stay warm, and you go out. Now imagine this, you're knocking on the doors of people. They're in their house, they got their fireplace lit, they got their heater on. Do they want to open the door in 10-degree weather? The answer is no. And that's also the same thing in the summer. So hot, people don't want to open the door and have to listen to witnesses coming around. And so what that means to me, I'm putting a dollar sign on this. So in the middle of winter when it's cold, when I used to go out in service in my car group, I used to keep my car running with the heater on. So, the witnesses, when they come back, oh, Brother Fearon, it's nice and warm in your car. So I would do that. In the summer, I used to keep my air conditioning on. Oh, Brother Fearon, it's nice and cool in your car. But I mean, now with gas prices, even though they have been coming down a little bit, with gas prices being what it is, who, in goodness name's sake, even wants to bring the car out in service? So I thought you guys would want to hear this. So let's see what happens. And what about social distancing? The Watchtower is still kind of paranoid about COVID. So what about if a householder does come to the door and you get the rare opportunity to talk to a householder? I mean, you're going to have to stay 6 feet apart. How are you going to handle that? So it's going to be very, very awkward. I'm glad I'm not going out. Boy, I'm glad I'm not going out. And you guys should be glad too. All right.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Am I interrupting you?
No,
I don't want
no, you're fine.
distract you
Let's take a breather here. Yep.
I just wanted to share something with you guys. I've always kept you guys updated with my daughter, and so I think I shared this not too long ago, about a month, maybe a little bit longer. My daughter's mom remarried a brother in Montana. They were in Prineville, Oregon. So Montana is about, I don't know if it's like 8 hours. It might be a little further away, 13 hours, somewhere in there. Anyway, they relocated to Montana. And so now they're meeting at the Kingdom Hall. They're going out in service. And but at the meetings, they still have to wear a mask. And then they can't visit after the meetings. Once the meeting's over, they're supposed to leave immediately afterwards. So they're readjusting to all that. And Savannah, my daughter, and her mom were used to the Zoom, and they actually got very comfortable in that. And there was a part of them that were kind of excited to go back to meetings, but at the same time, they were in their comfort zone, you know what I mean? But then her mom being remarried, it's kind of like a fresh start, blah, blah, blah. But the point I want to bring up is, so my daughter's been doing homeschool in Prineville, Oregon. The state basically funded like anything she needed for school, whether it was a science project or publications or books she needed, they provided that for her. When they moved to Montana, they didn't have that option. So my ex-wife, the man she remarried, it's funny, his name is Daniel as well. And anyway, he I guess was close friends with a circuit overseer, and they had him and his wife over for dinner here about a couple weeks ago. And so I'm talking with Savannah on the phone, and her mom jumps on the phone. So her mom's telling me all this stuff. So they have the circuit overseer over for dinner and his wife, and they knew that Savannah had been doing homeschool. And they knew they were trying to figure out what to do at this point, because they didn't want to necessarily put Savannah back in public school, just because of, shootings and all the stuff that's gone on. It's not just strictly because of the religion. So the circuit overseer says, well, you do know that witnesses have a online school, that all the teachers are witnesses. And it's, if anybody doesn't know, it's CIE.world. if you put CIE.world, and it's interesting. You pull it up, it takes you to the home page. It's all witnesses, and it has on the very front page. It has an Albert Einstein quote, and you could read that. But anyway, so Savannah's mom's talking to me about this, and she knows where I stand at. You know, she knows I'm not a witness and whatnot. But she goes, "Oh, I just want to tell you they only use the name Jehovah once in a while in the class, like if it's talking about history or something like that. So they don't really. It's not religious. It actually is a school." But every now and then they will use the name Jehovah. And I was just kind of listening. You know, I don't know why she was afraid I was going to be paranoid about it. But it was, I thought was interesting. And she said that Savannah, our daughter, was like, Savannah was kind of tripping out. Like, is this a religious thing? I don't want to go to a religious school. And so she had to convince Savannah, no, this is all the curriculum. You know, it's just like you're going to any school. The only difference is, yeah, sometimes the teacher will use the name Jehovah for something, but I didn't know this existed. And so they have to pay $60 a month and this is, everything's provided for her, all the books and everything she needs. And then they have, I guess they do some type of Zoom in class stuff, and then they have the option to, if there's people in that area, like say where they live at in Montana, if there was students in that area, then they would schedule time where you could actually go and hang out with the different students. But it's for Jehovah's Witnesses alone. You can't be, you have to be a Jehovah's Witness to be a part of this school. But I just thought it was interesting that the witnesses, I don't know who built this, or who, if this is from the society, or is it just everyday Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, went and got their teachers' credentials and whatnot and built this. I don't know exactly. I haven't researched it. I just found out about this weekend. So I just wanted to share with you guys to see if you guys have ever heard of this. It's CIE.world. You can watch YouTube videos on it. I haven't yet because I just actually text Savannah's mom to get the actual name of it so I can go and research it. She just now texts me back. So it's CIE.world, and evidently it's all the teachers are Jehovah's Witnesses. And so this is going to be quite interesting to see how this goes. So anyway, just throwing that out there.
Well, thank you, Daniel, for sharing that. No, there has been, I have heard of this. Maybe not that particular school, but this is something that has taken place right along. There has always been in some parts of the country. I don't think it's sanctioned by the Watchtower, at least the schools that I was familiar with in the past. They were, you know, a consortium of Jehovah's Witnesses that would do this. And the $60 a month, though, that doesn't seem too bad, right? It really doesn't. I don't know.
No, it doesn't seem too bad. What I'm kind of nervous about is, you know, it's ironic that my ex-wife is saying, you know, they only use Jehovah. I mean, I was just listening. I wasn't objecting. I was just listening. But she was making a point. Well, they only use Jehovah once in a while, you know, and it just makes me feel like, okay, you're already being brainwashed going to the meetings. You know what I'm saying? Now you're going to go to a school that's all JWs.
Yeah, I can see where you're concerned, Daniel. I really can. And you're looking out for Savannah's well-being. Now, how old is Savannah now? About 12, 11, 12?
She's 12. She's 12, yeah.
Yeah, so I can see.
Isn't that crazy? When I came on the show, she was, I think, 3,
Yeah,
They're
I
somewhere
remember.
in that age, and I cannot believe she's 12. But
Well,
it just alarms me, even if the Watchtower is not connected to it. Isn't it ironic that the people will still do things, even if it's not sanctioned by the Watchtower? They will continue on the brainwashing one way or the other. I'm not blaming the Watchtower. I'm just saying, is my daughter going to strictly get a pure education, or is there going to be some twist in there where she's continually being brainwashed now at school? You see what I'm saying?
oh no, I know what you're saying, and it's something to be concerned about. But you might find that they might be pretty sensible. I mean, it just doesn't sound good, but it might be okay. But you have to check it out. You have to check it out.
I hope so.
Because the reason why I even say that, Daniel, the school systems, the public school systems now are a joke. And I would be willing to say, and I'm not, endorsing the witnesses here, but I would rather have my kids hear something that was at least clean and wholesome rather than being taught that they could become some transgender,
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
It's scary today. Before, if you go back a few years ago, I would be totally against homeschool, because I believe you don't want to be sheltered. You want your children not to have a rude awakening when they get older and go out into the real world. But unfortunately, the real world has become very violent, very crazy. So there's a part of me, it's kind of like a toss up. I actually feel good that she's doing homeschool. At least I know that she's not going to have to worry about a shooting going on at the school or something. Because I don't know what's wrong with people today, Rick. I really don't. They've lost their darn minds. They've you look at this snatch and grab, where people are just running in and broad daylight and breaking into jewelry stores and taking stuff, or running into clothing stores and grabbing purses or whatever. I mean, I don't know what in the world is going on. I mean, in Jehovah's Witness point of view, they're thinking it's probably Armageddon,
Well, yeah.
But I mean, I think it's a cycle, but this is craziness. It hurts my heart. It hurts my soul that people are just going up to people and punching people if they're Asian or if they're whatever and knocking them out. And these are young kids doing this, teenagers.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
I know this is a spiritual call on Sundays, so I'd say, what the heck is a spirit?
Yeah.
That's going on with these people?
Well, it's a demonic spirit. And I have to tell you, even right here, the Walgreens, 2 miles from where I live, I got to know a man that works there. He's a cashier, about my age, and his name is Arthur. And so he told me not too long ago, he's there. He's right by the door at Walgreens. And he says, you cannot believe it. I live in a nice little community here. It's not like, downtown Harlem. I live in a nice community here. And so he's telling me people are walking into Walgreens, now not with shopping bags like you see on TV, but they're walking in. He says women, stealing makeup, putting it under their coats and sweaters, and men coming in stealing shaving cologne and all of that stuff. And he says they don't want them to stop them. He says he sees them doing it, and they walk right out smiling at him as they're walking out the door with what they just stole. But he said the Walgreens company said,
Wow.
don't do a thing. Don't do a thing, because, then you might, get in more trouble, and he might shoot you or hurt you, and you're going to be a lawsuit. So they feel I guess it's better for them to steal than have the employees get hurt. And then the Home Depot right here told me the same thing. People walk in there, they walk out with nice power drills and tools, just walk right out the door. They don't want them chasing after them. It's different, Daniel.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yes, it is crazy. Well, thank you, Daniel. Thank you for checking in with us. Appreciate it. Thank you for that. Keep us up to date.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. Well, anyways, now I got on jw.org this week. I have to do it because of the job I have here, right? I don't like doing it, but I get on, I listen to their streams, I listen to their JW broadcasting. But I found something this week that really was bizarre. David Spleen. Well, he's a governing body member, Spleen. That's what his name is. And I'd say he's probably, I think he's about 62, somewhere around there. So he came on with the update number 6. But every month they do an update from the world headquarters of the Watchtower. And so anyways, he came on and he was so excited and talking about how all the witnesses are so excited. They're going back on the preaching work, house to house, as we were just talking about that. And he says for 3 years they weren't doing it. Now they're so excited to return. And of course, that's going to start on September 1st, next week. They're going to be going out and it's just in time, he said, for this worldwide campaign to start Bible studies. But this is the part that really got me laughing. I really laughed out loud. He says, and I am sure, this is David Spleen, and I am sure the angels are excited too, because it will give them the opportunity to help us with our ministry. Okay, can you imagine that? I'm going to play the clip. I just want you to hear the clip. Let's play it right now. I want you to hear it. 1 second.
Welcome, everyone. In this program, we are going to find out what the year text will be for 2023. So stay tuned.
Going to tell us the year text too.
Here are a few updates. No doubt we all enjoyed the Pursue Peace Convention. Wasn't that an outstanding program?
No,
it was so practical.
It wasn't.
And how thrilling it was to hear the announcement that we're planning in-person regional conventions for 2023. After 3 years, it'll be so good to meet together with our brothers and sisters in person at a convention. It's also exciting that we'll return to the house-to-house ministry starting September 1st, just in time for our worldwide campaign to start Bible studies. And I'm sure the angels are going to be excited too, because it'll give them opportunities to help us with our ministry.
Wait a minute. Wait, did you hear that? The angels are excited because the governing body members Spleen just announced that they're going back to door. So the angels are excited about that. I rather doubt it. You know, what really gives the Jehovah's Witnesses the right to even say something like that? Even if I was a full-fledged witness, I'd scratch my head on that one. So the angels are excited to go out in the door-to-door ministry. Friends, the witnesses aren't excited. The angels aren't either. The angels, he says, basically have been sitting idle in heaven during the pandemic. And now that the house-to-house work is going to take place again, the angels are looking forward to it. So I'm sure they're not looking forward to going out. They're in fact, probably just like the witnesses, they're hoping that no one's home. They're probably taking long coffee breaks, just like the witnesses would be doing, driving, to rural areas. So this is crazy, isn't it? Isn't that crazy?
I laugh because I was, before you said coffee, I was thinking, well, what the angels have sitting there just drinking coffee and eating donuts and waiting for something to happen. Oh God, now they're going to start going out door to door. Okay, we can get busy now. Really?
Well, Daniel, that's
like their life evolves around the Watchtower. Really?
Yeah. Well, that's the feeling that I got when I was watching this. And I'm saying, this is bizarre. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around it. I can't even believe it that, the angels are excited because the door-to-door work's starting again. But didn't they always tell us anyways, when we were out knocking on doors, that the angels were with us? Remember all of these crazy stories, these urban myth stories we used to hear? How, some axe murderer was going to kill a witness when she came to the door, but the angels were there and they wouldn't do it. Yeah.
Let me say something to that. There was when I was married to my wife at the time, which is Savannah's mom, her uncle, which is her mom's brother, his mom professed to be of the anointed. Okay. And she was in her, what was she? I think she was in her late 60s, maybe early 70s. And she was pioneering. And she was a sister, literally. If you met her, like when I first met her, she was just like, she knew my father was professing to be of the anointed. And she introduced herself when I first met her, when I got married into the family. When I met her for the first time, she actually introduced herself as her name, and I'm one of the anointed, which I have never met somebody that actually are one of the anointed. Well, now think of these stories that we've heard of angels. Like I think the one that's common, that we probably all heard of, is a woman who was at a door, and the man that answered the door, I don't remember the exact story, but basically he was going to kill or rape whoever came to his door. And when he opened the door, he saw two big men standing next to her, which she was by herself. And supposedly those were angels, right? So going back with this sister, that elderly sister that's professing to be of the anointed, goes to a door with another sister, and the guy that opens the door, I guess they were going on a return visit, and the guy that opened the door that was visiting didn't realize that the dog that they had was aggressive. And he opened the door and it blew past him. I don't remember if it was a pit bull or what it was, but basically it attacked her and basically tore her face off. I mean, she was in multiple surgeries, whatever. She almost died from it, scarred for life. She didn't die, but she was scarred for life. She's passed away since then. But where were the angels then? Where were the angels that protect her from this dog attacking her face and just mauling it to pieces, you know?
Yeah, well,
It was graphic.
I know. Well, I like exactly what Christy Ann here. She's a YouTuber, and so she's writing in the comments here on YouTube. Yeah, where were the angels when I was in service? Got chased down the street by a guy with a bat, and got a German Shepherd let loose on her. Where were the angels then? So I think that's a good comment, Christy. And then also, what angels were they? Fallen angels, maybe? Very good comment, Christy. And hope you're doing better too, by the way. Hope all things are going well for you. Yeah, so Dan, it's just crazy when I heard this, but thank you for relating that story, and that's what you have to think in both directions. We have to be bi-directional, not unidirectional, as the Watchtower is. What I don't know if you guys been reading any the new Watchtower studies as of late, but in recent Watchtower studies, I'm seeing something that repeating itself, and it's kind of getting me a little bit concerned. The Watchtower studies are getting as bad as they ever have been. They're now telling people to sell your house and possessions. Satan's world spreads misleading information and lies about Jehovah's organization. Cut off your family who was speaking the truth about the truth. Those people that became apostates, cut them off. And last but not least, commit suicide by refusing to accept a blood transfusion. So all of this, in other words, what I'm saying is that they're trying to get people to really get deeply involved in their religion. They're suggesting these things. Sell your house. Don't listen to the apostates. Don't listen to what they're saying about people dying in the truth because they didn't take a blood transfusion. So, this is something that brings back memories from 1974, because they brought out the same thing about, people are selling their houses and they're moving to where the need is great. And so that is something they know it works. Sad to say, it works for the Watchtower, gets people moving. So they many back then, I know a man himself that sold his house here, and he lived in Burlington, Massachusetts, moved way out to the cornfields of Iowa. And, well, I don't know whatever happened to him, but I think he made a bad mistake. So the Watchtower is also concerned here, and even saying in this recent, I believe it was this week's study or last week's study, that they were saying that many Jehovah's Witnesses are beginning to question. They're beginning to wonder why they're living in poverty and wondering why their lives have not been as grandiose as they would have liked. And so now they're starting to say, well, was it the Watchtower? Was it Jehovah? Why isn't my life worth living and doing fine? A lot of these poor people, they've been retired. There's no money. They couldn't have a good job when they were a witness. And now all of a sudden they're retiring in the Watchtower. Now this got my attention, for the Watchtower to actually come out and to make a statement about the fact that, are you blaming the organization in Jehovah for your setbacks in life? This is right in the Watchtower articles. Are you suffering? Do you think you've been suffering because of your connection with Jehovah and the Watchtower? Well, I mean, really, I can see the Watchtower governing body members here desperately to put this fire out. Evidently, it's starting to spread around. A lot of these old, impoverished witnesses are starting to talk, and I'm sure they're getting together and saying these things. And for many Jehovah's Witness senior citizens now living in poverty, they're wondering what flavor of canned cat food they're going to be having for dinner tonight. That's how bad it is for some of them. And I'm not exaggerating. People do. I've seen, when I lived in Florida, I haven't seen it here in Massachusetts, but I've seen people picking dumpsters and eating cat food and dog food just to survive. Now, are the witnesses doing it? Do I have evidence they're doing it? No. But I have evidence that witnesses are moving in with one another. They're not able to keep up with the rents. They're not able to keep up with other issues going on in their life concerning monetary problems. And they're falling through the cracks. Many witnesses are moving in with one another. So, all of a sudden, all of the stuff is coming home to roost. Don't get a good job. Don't go to college. This is all coming back now and haunting many Jehovah's Witnesses as they're getting older. So, it's don't let the devil in any way make it feel like you're having these problems because you were involved with the Watchtower. Well, that is the problem. Yes, that's why you're having the problem, because you were involved with the Watchtower. Think of all the things. I do myself, folks. I'm not sitting here complaining, just explaining. But if I think about that myself, well, what would it have been like? What would have been like? I went to broadcasting school, but I dropped out. I because there was no encouragement. I'm not blaming anybody, but they wanted me to keep it down. When I left high school, I always wanted to be in broadcasting. I wanted to be a DJ, and I would have liked that. But the Watchtower didn't like it. They considered it like, that's kind of a worldly job, Rick. But I went to school anyways. I know they didn't like it, so I kind of had to downplay it at the Kingdom Hall. But I'm wondering if I would have stayed there. And I fantasize sometimes, like all of you guys do too. And I fantasize, geez, with all these cable networks, I probably could have been on Fox News today. I probably could have been on, well, I don't want to be on CNN, but I probably could have been on Fox, right? So anyways, I'm just thinking out loud. You guys probably stop and think too. What would your life been like if you never involved with this wacky religion? Well, we have got Jay Hassey's coming up here momentarily. And I have to tell you something. He does a great job. And he's getting a lot of people coming in and listening to his program. Jay Hess is a man that knows the Bible. And he knows it as much as any person I've ever met in my life. You ask him a Bible question, poof, you've got it. Ask him another Bible question, boom, you got it. He can answer it. He's coming on next. And at one time, I think you know it by now, but I'm going to tell you if you don't. Jay Hess, he was involved with the writing department of the Watchtower. And that impressed me. When I first met Jay back in 2004 at the Witnesses Now for Jesus convention in Pennsylvania, this man impressed me. You know, there's not many people in life that really totally impress you, but Jay Hess did. And he still impresses me to this day with his knowledge of the scriptures. He's coming on next, so don't go anywhere. He'll be on with us in just a few minutes here, because when we end this broadcast, we go to another program on the Six Screens. And I want to tell you too, folks, I really want to let you know, thank you for liking our Six Screens and commenting, and thank you very much for subscribing to our channel, because what it's doing is it's the algorithms in YouTube are beginning to work. Yes, in fact, our JW World News, not last night, but the week before, went over 1,000 hits for a 2-hour program. That's not too bad. So more and more people are coming in and they're listening. So by all means, subscribe if you can. Let's get more witnesses to wake up and smell the coffee and say toodaloo to the Watchtower organization. We got 2 minutes left. If someone wants to come in and say something, go ahead.
Hey, Rick.
Hello? Let's go with the new fellow there. Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. You're on with us.
Hi. I was just wondering if you heard anything about the campaign. Is that going to involve any sort of pamphlet or something with this encouraging Bible studies and so on?
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure they'll have. It's basically that they want Bible studies. They're making the campaign is all about Bible studies. They want to get people back into that work. The Bible study work has been kind of unproductive because of COVID. So they want to get people back in studying the Bible. That's what the campaign is going to be all about. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if it's going to have some sort of a pamphlet or something. You know, like when they do the invitation.
Yeah, he didn't say. He didn't say, but I think they might. I mean, I don't know. I'm speaking something I'm not sure of, but you know, it's a campaign.
Okay, because I have an idea. All the literature, as far as I know now, has some sort of a QR code on it, because they want you to be able to scan it and go to the jw.org website.
Right.
If PMOs or anybody that can get their hands on it can make stickers, you can put a different QR code on those pieces of literature, and if people you could send them to JW Fax or something like that. So you could sort of subvert their what they're trying to do and send them someplace else where they can get some real information.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right. So you're more or less thinking they're afraid to have brochures like that and flyers. Yeah. All right.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying it's something that you find more and more of, where you just scan it with your phone, and then it sends you to the whatever address. And I'm pretty sure that all the watchtowers and everything, they all have that QR code somewhere on there.
Yes.
So that they can, because they want to funnel everybody to the website. Even when they speak with somebody at the door and say, "Hey, check out this website," that's basically what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So if you can put a sticker on those QR codes that changes the QR code, you could send them to wherever you want. You could send them to JW Fax.
That's a good idea, and I'm sure
So
I'm sure people are doing it, brother. Well, that's wonderful. No, let's give us some good ideas here. So we'll see what happens with this campaign. But thank you for chiming in. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
All righty. Well, there you go. Anyways, we're going to go to Jay Hess. We're going to end this program now. We're going to go to Jay Hess. He's going to be on with us. I do believe I've got him into our suite here, which I do. Let me end this program and stay with us in 2 minutes. We'll be right back. So don't go anywhere.